at once an actual good strategy, says Tigger. Hey, Tigger. Yeah. I mean, it's a tactic. Is attacking in two places at once. Is it a good idea? Yeah. If your opponent's not in those two places, absolutely. You know, everything in StarCraft, it's a strategy game. Everything is based on the situation. Everything is flexible. If your opponent's not ready for something, if they're not prepared for it, it's a good idea. If they are prepared for it, it's not a great idea. The game's entirely fluid. You know, there's no right way to play StarCraft. All you have is a set of options, and that's why it's so overwhelming for a lot of newer players. They're like, "Wow, there's no right way to play." It's like, yeah, you can fucking do whatever you want, and there's guidelines and there's certain, you know, things you can follow, and there's certain ideas and builds you can follow, but ultimately you can do whatever the hell you want. So, should be good. So anyway, dudes, let's hop into our final map of Surprise, motherfucker. Of course, send in your replays for Siege Warfare for next week, and it should be awesome. Spawning up here in the top left-hand side, our red Zerg player. It is Zars. Is that one of the Cerebrit names? I feel like that's one of the Cerebrits in the Brood War or StarCraft 1 campaign. It's fucking... Isn't Zars one of, like, the douchebag ones? It's like, I'm gonna rebel against the Overmind. His opponent down here in the bottom right-hand side... Let's see if he goes God mode. It is IDDQD. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is not just the alias of an Overwatch pro player, which people keep saying. Whenever I make old Doom cheat code references, everyone's like, oh, you watch Overwatch. And I'm like, no, IDDQD was the original cheat code for God mode, where you couldn't take any damage in Doom. Like, you know, original Doom, you know, second first-person shooter ever made after Wolfenstein 3D. Go and play it if you haven't. You can literally play that shit in browser, and it plays exactly the same as the original game. I was playing through most of Doom 2 recently, actually. Actually, I bought it on Steam because I got sick of playing it in browser because it was slightly clunky. But yeah, great game. So let's see if IDDQD can live up to his namesake. I'm pretty sure this one was submitted by IDDQD because I remember there was a few replays submitted by him. And yeah, I skimmed through the replays and kind of fast forwarded, watching the minimap as much as I could. And if I remember correctly, I chose this game even though it's a Zerg vs. Zerg. And I know there's people like, Zerg vs. Zerg is dumb. Because I'm pretty sure this was a game where there was just a lot of angles being hit, a lot of like multi-prong, a lot of back and forth. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Hopefully it is a good close game. Next week, we'll be back to normal with Eon Blue kind of looking through the replays for me and picking the best games. But I tried to keep a little bit of surprise factor in there, not like watch the whole game in detail, because then, you know, it's always awkward casting a game when you know exactly what's going to happen. It's like, unless you're doing deep analysis, you're just like, I know what's about to happen. This is exciting. Anyway, nonetheless, Zaz is going to go for a big Zergling attack. Baneling Nest is about to finish back at home. Is there a Baneling Nest done here for IDDQD? There is, but there's no Zerglings up right now. Zaz is going to come in. Uh-oh, big Zergling attack coming to the natural. IDDQD is down on Zerglings, but has two queens here. Going to use those queens to help hang on. But there we go. Zaz just going to dive on into that main base. Says, okay, I'll turn around and fight you on the ramp away from those queens. IDDQD with a good pullback. Big skirmish going on right now. Zaz going to take down a queen in the main base. The Zerglings do come back in time to defend that. A queen backing it up. Oh, Zaz going to go for the surround on the second queen. But these red hit point Zerglings of IDDQD actually shredding the Zerglings of Zaz. I think if Zaz A-moved, he would have got the queens and the Zerglings. Because these Zerglings deal so much damage. And he left those three Zerglings on red hit points. If they died, I think Zaz actually would have done massive damage there. But slight blunder from Zaz. I say slight because literally everyone who's ever played a Zerg vs. Zerg with Zergling or Ling Bane skirmishes ever, even at pro level, has made like 1,000 mistakes because it's just so fast-paced. It's very hard to do everything perfectly. For now, both players have equalized. Zaz is up a little bit in workers, but third base is down way faster for IDDQD. So it looks like faster roach and upgrades for Zaz, whereas it's just going to be Ling Bane for now for IDDQD. Try and keep his opponent down in the workers, use that fast third base, maybe drone that up. Yeah, 5 workers coming down behind us. and a lair as well. So IDDQD playing a really strong macro game. Lots and lots of Zerglings flooding across this map. Zaz has a couple of queens out here, but no banelings. Oh, only a single baneling on the defense right now. These queens out in the open. I don't know if he's got enough units to defend this. IDDQD does lose an overlord, but gets on top of the lings, and the queen is going to surround all of this. That single baneling, he's got to be a hero. Is he going to get the hit? It gets a good hit, but not an amazing hit. The queens are still going to go down. This other baneling, it's all on you, buddy. It's all on you. What? Oh, God. To be a baneling against someone with micro is like the worst thing. Like, I have one purpose, to get a good detonation, and then that happens. But there we go. There was a backup baneling on top of the ramp. Killed the rest of the Zerglings. Fantastic play from Zaz. And Zaz ends up holding, is up 5 workers at the end of that. This single Zergling trying to get some damage done. Revenge of the drones. They just nip him to pieces. If you've never been killed by drones before, and I assume most of you haven't, it's a lot like having a bunch of grandmas with like sewing needles just slowly like stab them through your skin until you bleed to death. Like, their pincers aren't particularly deadly, but once you get nibbled enough, like eventually your skin just kind of falls off. It's kind of fucked up. IDDQD, ooh, loses those Zerglings to that baneling, doesn't quite get the damage done. Has the third base, but hasn't really gotten any advantage out of it yet. This is still tied up pretty close. Actually, though, IDDQD, through the aggression, has been macroing really well, whereas Zaz has been so busy defending. He's frozen up on his production a little bit, and you can see that he's a little bit later to get out these roaches, which is why he's kind of slower on the supply. And even though he had the faster Evo chamber, his upgrade is like, what, 7 seconds ahead of the upgrade of IDDQD. So both players are going to be playing double Evo chamber roach play from here. But IDDQD really dictating the pace of the game, has great overlord vision, and just has a good tabs of what's going on. That being said, Zaz does have this pervert overlord here, giving him pretty good vision. He's just, you know, just casually looking through the windows and watching the upgrades. Damn it. I thought there'd be some lady drones showering around this refinery. Yeah, overlords are fucking just seriously, man. You just like, your one purpose is to watch. Like, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. They just want to join in. They just want to do, but they're just sitting in the closet. That's all they get to do. Zaz is building roaches. And it looks like IDDQD is going to start the surprise motherfucker attack time. So up until this point, there's mainly been like one-on skirmishes. It hasn't been super following the, you know, the rule as such. But let's face it, there was only really one base here for Zaz, and the Zerglings were always trying to split into the main as well. They just kept getting killed by the baneling on the ramp. So IDDQD, though, coming in with a 2-pronged attack. Roaches on the front, Zerglings on the right-hand side, going to go for the cancel on the third. IDDQD pulls back for a moment. He's going to go back in, sinks it up. There we go. Surprise, motherfuckers. Zerglings on the right-hand side. IDDQD with a great push. The Roaches pulled to the right, and his Roaches are going to dive in. 2-pronged attack working beautifully for IDDQD. Zaz is falling apart a little bit. The Zerglings run away on the right-hand side. The Roaches being pulled further out of position. And the Zerglings, oh man, these Roaches coming in now. Yeah, they're killing the Roaches as they pop. I think Zaz might finally have enough, but he actually just lost an upgrade. An Evo chamber does go down. Those Roaches getting trapped by those Broodlings, though. So in the end, a decent hold from Zaz, and does keep that third base alive for now. Finally managed to split off some Roaches effectively. But these Zerglings, they didn't all die. They're ready to come back in a little bit later. And behind this, our fourth base is up for IDDQD. Has a little bit of mining on the third. It's going to start to drone up, trying to get back on top of that spending. Big problem for IDDQD is never started that +2 attack. And now 20 drones at once. Oh my god. That is kind of beastly. Zaz, fortunately for IDDQD, is also droning, not going for a counterattack, because that's incredibly greedy. Wants to use this fast fourth and this third base and get way ahead in the economy while doing these 2-pronged attacks. And IDDQD, it's getting ahead. If he gets enough time, he will overtake in the supply. Right now, Zaz is way up in supply, has a much more intimidating army, but you can see the psychological impact of just getting attacked constantly, and especially when someone's attacking you from multiple sides. It's very easy to kind of get pushed back mentally and end up just like choked up in your corner of the map, like, where's he going to come from next? Where's he going to come from next? And you don't even realize that your opponent's done nothing but build workers the whole time and economy, and is getting ahead in that regard. So Zaz would have a wonderful +2 attack timing in just a few moments, but I don't know if he realizes it, because look at his map vision. He's completely blind. His overlord's not on the map at all. He lost the 2 overlords he did have out, and now Zaz just has no information in this game and is droning up his third. but so much slower. 73 workers out. IDDQD got away with being nastiest of greedy people. 3 more drones, you madman. IDDQD, this is what we call the bullshit of Zerg, guys. This is why you need to always be somewhat aggressive against Zerg. Is because if you leave them alone the way Zaz has, someone can do what IDQD has done here and just be so greedy. His economy is out of control right now. But he's still down at like half the army supply, so he better start massing army right now. And he's building Zerglings and Overlords, interestingly enough. Neither of those are going to be too useful in a frontal engagement. So IDQD just massing up, and yeah, okay, Zaz is going to attack before this lead disappears. Lots of Roaches and Ravagers running down this left-hand side of the map. That's a big force. Look at this little shitty army of IDDQD, but IDDQD running out those Zerglings, getting ready to counterattack, wants to hit the opponent. Now remember, it is surprise, motherfucker, so he needs to not just counterattack one location, but 2, if he wants this to be legitimate. I'm going to be a fucking hard ass and hold him to that. Let's see if he actually manages to do that while defending Roach Ravager. Roach Ravager coming in the front. Oh god, he's catching the Hydras. The Roaches and Ravagers are vastly outnumbered here for IDDQD. And oh god, but Zerglings hit the 3rd base. They get cleaned up by Spines, but there's Zerglings on the natural, and they're going to start to do big damage. The Roaches and Ravagers here trying to get in, but great micro from IDDQD. Going to pull drones into the fight. The Hydras and Ravagers had to pull up that ramp, but they managed to do it. And with Corrosive Bile, with all the reinforcements, it looks like finally, I think Zaz force taking some losses. The Zerglings in the natural just tearing the economy apart. IDDQD just needs to hang on. He's still got so many more workers, even after losing a lot of them. IDDQD's Roaches starting to spill out, and that is what he needed here. Lots and lots of Roaches spilling on out, and that's going to be beautiful. Looks like that will start to deal with everything. So, things starting to fall apart there for Zaz. Zaz attack finally is held. He managed to kill 21 workers, but he lost 19 at home. And at the end of that, since IDDQD was so greedy, he is way, way ahead. And I love that IDDQD split Zerglings into the 3rd. Got wrecked because there were Spine Crawlers, but followed through with the double-pronged surprise attack whilst defending at the front. So hats off to you, IDDQD. You did well. I am impressed. 10 more drones? You madman. Oh my god. IDDQD is just an insane person, guys. So, yeah, normally you respect how scary it is to get pushed by Zerg. So you're like, I'll stop at 55 drones, man. 60 drones is enough for me all game. Very occasionally you'll go up to 70 workers. But IDDQD is like, I barely survived an attack. Quickly, rebuild all the workers and build more Zerglings. What the hell? He just wants to do these constant double-pronged Zergling counterattacks rather than beef up this tiny little army at the front. So IDDQD here is just hanging on against that previous push by a thread, and yet the moment he holds on, he's just like, nah, let's just go back to Zerglings and drones. Who needs a frontal army, man? It's funny because it's actually working so well, and that is my favorite thing about the ICYFAR challenges, is it does push people to play in a way they might normally not want to play, and kind of investigate different ways you can play StarCraft. So pretty cool. Zerglings are coming out on both sides of the map. We've got Zerglings on the right, Zerglings on the left. These guys aren't going to do shit. Okay, they're going to run away. Good reaction there from IDDQD, but Zaz coming in with another Roach Ravager push. He's got 2-1 upgrades, so it is equal on the upgrades. And Zerglings are going to run in on that left-hand side. They're going to try and find damage. At the same time, Roaches and Ravagers coming in on this 3rd. They're going to start to get some damage done. Going to be a tight little engage. It looks like at the same time a Zergling counterattack has hit the natural, and another Zergling attack hitting the 4th base. IDDQD hitting multiple bases with those counters, coming in with the Hydras and Ravagers to trap these Ravagers. These Hydras do not have a lot of buffer for them though, so I think they will get overwhelmed. No, there's just barely enough numbers. The Hydras there managed to shred their way through, and it looks like Zar's attack is held once more. And with these Zergling counterattacks doing more and more economic damage, IDDQD's work kill count comes up to 31. And even though it's almost identical between the players, 30 kills to 31, IDDQD has just built way more workers overall this game, so he could absorb those losses, and Zaz couldn't. So I think this game is going to be drawing to a close very soon, as, I mean, IDDQD has way more army now. Roaches and Hydras are out. Way bigger economy. 4th base up versus just 3 bases. And I think that one's going to be closing that out. That's sick. Sick. Ooh, we got Burrow on the way. A few more drones being rebuilt by Zaz, trying to rebuild that economy, but as these bases are also getting close to mining out, and the army is so small, this one's looking a little bit tight. Just going to fast forward a little bit as IDDQD is all over this game. More Zerglings on the way, a hive, infestation pit. Once again, We've got the double-pronged surprise attack on both sides. Zaz is going to move out and try and take this fourth, but IDDQD might even be able to cancel that straight away. The Roaches and Ravagers... Oh my god, is he going to kill his own hatchery? Oh my god, he almost biled his own hatchery down trying to kill that Overlord. You crazy person, Zaz. You friggin' madman. What the hell? Zerglings are going to run in on that left-hand side, though. We've got this two-pronged attack preparing. IDDQD wants to finish off this game, pushing the right-hand side while running Zerglings into the natural again. Hydra's going to get surrounded. They will go down, though. They've got 2-2 upgrades against 0-0 Zerglings, so they're actually going to do pretty well for themselves. But here we go. Roaches and Hydras pushing it on the right-hand side. The Roaches and Ravagers are in too small numbers. The fourth doesn't even get cancelled. And Zaz here trying desperately to mount a defense, trying to get his own Hydras out. But it is 200 supply to just 100. IDDQD going to break down these rocks. And probably a little bit like, oh shit, how do I finish the game? I can't attack just one location at once. IDDQD is going to take his time with it. Let's give him a moment to split his units up and go for this two-pronged attack that he's been wanting to do all game long. Come on IDDQD. Yeah, you know you want to split your arm. There we go. Army's going to split. He isn't really hitting two locations at once, but he's got some Zerglings on the left-hand side that he thought was going to be hitting a fourth base, but there isn't even anything over there. IDDQD comes in for the kill, punches Zaz in the face, and it is over. GG, well played. All right, hats off to IDDQD there, using some pretty damn sick Zergling counterattacks. I'm actually really impressed he hung on against that Roach Ravager attack. If he wasn't so good at pulling up into his natural and then up into his main base to buy time, if he just got overwhelmed there, he would have actually lost from being such a greedy boy. So he hung on at the end, managed to do it, and hats off to him for that. So guys, big thanks for hanging out. Going to be doing a ladder stream. You guys can vote on if you'd like to see Star-Lord or Macro